couldn't stop the podcast. You could only delay it. You know what the point I want to make about this right away is? Is it just me, or are Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions the least funny impressions of any celebrity?
I literally have that written down. It's like the easiest, like lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's the one that like someone who watches like never watches movies tries to do.
Yeah, people who watch those like CW originals, like The Flash,
Arrow, Batgirl.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah, I know. Put that cooking down.
But is that gonna stop us?
No,
probably not.
It's already done. Minute 1. Welcome back, everybody, to the Before and After the Movies podcast. I'm Antony Packer.
And I'm Omen Johal.
And this is our second episode.
Second episode, milestone.
Yeah.
Who thought we'd meet up again to do another one?
I know. I feel like podcast number 2 is like 1 to 2 is probably the biggest drop off of any podcast ever.
Oh yeah, but don't ask us to do 3. So.
No, this is probably it.
But not really.
Yeah, definitely not. We're here today to do Terminator: Dark Fate.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the second episode I've had to kind of drag you to this.
Yeah, I was resisting a bit. I saw that the teaser where the CGI was not complete at all, and that slow music was playing. I was just like, oh, it looks like
it looked bad.
T1 all over again.
I barely remember. I think I've seen the teaser and one trailer, like maybe twice, in real movies, and I'm happy with how little I know about this movie.
Exactly. I think we saw a few like gunshots. That's what I can remember.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. So we're doing Terminator: Dark Fate, directed by Tim Miller. What else did he direct?
Deadpool.
Can I get a quick Deadpool impression for the fans?
Holy podcast, fuck!
The biggest name here, produced and written by none other. He's back, James Cameron.
Jimmy Cams.
He's getting his film rights back in the year 2019.
It's interesting though, because I remember when Genesis came out, he did this weird trailer where it's like you see the start of Genesis, and then he's being interviewed, and he's like, I went to watch this movie, and it started out, and I'm like, well, this is kind of familiar. And then it went in a whole new direction. And at the end, it's like, if you love the Terminator franchise, you're going to love this movie.
Yeah, he probably walked away with a fat check.
Yeah,
after that
and he got slammed, because that movie is just... It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I actually haven't even seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I'm going off... I think you told me back in, 2017 that I should just stay away.
Yeah. I remember it was like... I saw it in the theaters, haven't seen it since. I barely remember anything, but I remember it was the old app storyline. Everyone's going to download this app, and
God.
I think it, hypnoptized you or some shit. It was, Jay Courtney.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you got Jay Courtney as your leading man,
and what's his name?
Right now.
The guy that you hate from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, fucking Jason fucking Clark.
What happened to Jason Clark?
He fell off the map, dude, because he sucks.
Anyway, I hope he's not listening. He's gonna be upset.
So Terminator: Dark Fate, also, it's starring Mackenzie Davis. She's actually from Vancouver.
I'm glad about all the research you've done.
I
didn't really think to look up anything.
I came a little more prepared just for the intro.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Davis. We're bringing back Linda Hamilton.
Yep. And Edward Furlong, I believe.
Oh, really? Edward Furlong, he plays...
John Connor in Terminator 2, the teenager.
Oh. I was going to say, and Arnold.
Yeah,
as
obviously.
our favorite T-800.
Anyway, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I got some segments here and some little topics I want to touch on, but
all right.
What do you got for me?
Let's start off with a little fast questions. My first fast question for you, Antony Packer.
Yeah.
In Terminator Dark Fate, is there going to be a reference to a fractured or resetting the timeline?
Yes.
Very confident. Will Sarah Connor...
Connor.
Sorry, but Arnold,
Will Sarah Connor.
Will Sarah Connor sacrifice herself?
I think they want her for one additional movie.
I think they do as well. Yeah. Linda Hamilton's getting a lot of buzz.
So no.
Will Arnold give us his thumbs up?
I hope not.
I think they will. I think it's going to be cheesy, and I think they will.
Okay. Do you think we'll get Hasta La Vista, baby?
No, I think we'll get an I'll Be Back. Which I think
in the trailer, I think it's Linda Hamilton who says it. Yeah. Oh, role reversal.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
It's not the same as the last one, we promise.
Yeah. We're just going to copy everything that worked.
We're pretty pessimistic going into this, aren't we?
We are. It hasn't worked for the past 2 movies.
No. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm going to hit you with a segment now.
All right,
is that the end of Fast Questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you for that, Alvin, as always. Okay, so I'm going to name a Terminator movie, and you're going to rate it out of 10.
All right.
Terminator 1. And if you haven't seen it, just be honest.
I've seen Terminator 1.
I don't think you have.
I have. I saw them all. My mom made me watch them.
Okay. All right. Terminator 1.
Terminator 1, like a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. It's old.
T2.
T2, everyone loves T2. Yeah. 8 out of 10 for
8
sure.
out of 10. T3, Rise of the Machines.
Fucking 4.
Terminator Salvation.
I got a soft spot for Terminator Salvation. Give it a 5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5. It just passes. And then obviously Genesis.
Genesis I haven't seen.
Okay, I would go T1. I agree with you on the 7.
Yeah.
T2, I'll probably give like an 8.5. Great film. T3, I think, is a little bit underrated.
It's just a sexy supermodel.
Yeah, it is. And it really lives off of just recreating moments that you enjoyed from T2 and just changing it up ever so slightly. But it's got some good action. It's pretty funny in parts, and I don't think it's that bad. It's an early 2000s. It's a 6 for me.
A 6, okay.
Then Salvation, I'd go with your 5 as well.
Yeah.
Poor film, but like really well shot. Whoever did the cinematography did great. I hope he had an easy ride on that set. Because he deserved it. Terminator Genesis, it's like a 2. It's
really?
It's one of those ones where I walked out and I was fuming.
I know it's tough coming from you because I know you and your dad are big Terminator franchise fans.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a bit easier to please, I think, with this franchise. Like he loves T3. You can't tell him a bad thing about T3.
He was a big Salvation fan as well, wasn't he?
No, not really. This kind of leads into my next point. I really and truly believe this is the Terminator franchise's last chance.
I agree.
To succeed. Because they've 3 attempted, like Terminator Salvation was supposed to be the first of a trilogy, Genesis they said was the first of a trilogy, and now they're saying this is probably the first of a trilogy.
And if it doesn't work, just let Sleeping Dogs lie.
Yeah, and I think they're prepared to do that.
Like, it was such a massive hit in the 80s. There was a Universal Studios ride off of it. Like, just let it go.
100%. But I hope this is good. I really hope it is.
Yeah, I mean, expectation-wise, to touch on that, I'm not really going in expecting much. I'm expecting a nice popcorn flick.
Yeah, this is like a popcorn. I'm gonna get a popcorn for this.
I'm getting a popcorn and a drink.
Really?
But you know what, Pegger? I would be pleasantly surprised if we get like a Mad Max level action movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, dude, you're singing my points right now.
Yeah, let's go.
My next point I've got is I want practical effects.
Okay.
I'm done with all this bullshit green screen. Obviously, there's a bit of it, and that's fine.
There has to be, yeah.
But T2 was so great because the action was so good.
Yeah, it was pure.
It was pure, and it felt real, and like the punches landed, and the motorcycles were sick, and I want some of that. And like, I know Tim Miller is like a big Terminator fan.
Okay.
And he's like, they're doing a direct sequel to Terminator 2, right? So they're using that as their inspiration point. Mm-hmm. And like Linda Hamilton in the mental institution in T2, like the hand-to-hand combat, I really want to get that back. That's my like. If I walk out and the movie's not great, but it had really good action and like a few good one-liners, I'll be happy.
Yeah, and I'll be happy with that as well. That kind of leads into one of my questions for you. Is
Go on.
You think you say you want practical effects? You think we're gonna get some de-aging, some Arnold de-aging?
Oh man, well this kind of ties in with my biggest prediction.
Okay.
And I don't think Arnold is a Terminator in this movie. And I could be completely wrong, but like, just based on the trailers, he's never got like the exposed face. He's always just got like a couple scratches, and you don't see him doing anything like superhuman. So I think this is another role reversal, and he's now the human that they based the original Terminator off of.
Oh.
So that's my theory. You like that, eh?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude.
But he's super resourceful. So like he's still a valuable asset to the team, but it's like he's gonna be a different character. And that's what's gonna happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I remember thinking that around like Genesis. I thought they were gonna go with that, but they didn't. Because like, how else do you get away with old Arnie? They did the whole "my flesh ages," which I kind of accepted.
Cheap,
but this is a much smarter, fresh approach. I feel, because I think this new. I don't really remember, but the new girl, she's like a hybrid human and Terminator.
So that's one of my predictions. Is that she's obviously sent back from the future.
Is she? I have no idea. Probably.
I think so. Yeah, probably. I mean, that's all I got, right? Yeah. But I don't think she's a machine. I think that John Connor in the future has like enhanced her, much like Wolverine has been enhanced by like, adamantium, that kind of thing.
Because I noticed they did make her look a little bit like Sarah Connor. So my theory is they've used Sarah Connor's DNA to make this Terminator hybrid. So she's like half Sarah Connor, half T.
You're getting me pretty stoked for this movie.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling a little bit cocky because we hit some big home runs in our first episode.
We did, yeah.
So I'm kind of ride that. Like I hope it all doesn't come crashing down here. But yeah, human Arnie, Sarah Connor DNA, and the new character.
Take that to the bank.
I got some more predictions here for you. Okay, give me an out of 10 chance of a Christian Bale cameo in this movie.
Zero, man. Zero. I think they want to distance themselves from Christian as much as possible.
So does he. It was not a good experience. Oh man, if I tell you now, if we get a Christian Bale cameo, I will just.
Oh, the movie becomes an instant 10.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Like,
imagine how surprised you'd be.
They kind of go for like the Days of Future Past, where they just kind of blend everything. Kind of get Christian Bale, get Jay Courtney showing up, Emilia
Jason
Clarke.
Clarke.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Packer, I got a reoccurring segment for you here.
Okay, hit me.
I
want a jingle as well, please.
Paint me that opening scene.
All right, I'll paint you that opening scene. Oh fuck, I didn't prepare one this time.
Well, so it's on the spot. Let's go.
Okay, on the spot. I think we're getting young de-aged Arnie is walking.
Oh, so
to,
there is de-aging.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's in a different way, not for a Terminator.
Okay.
It's the original human, and he's at the job center. He's unemployed. He's like a war veteran, and they're like, "Oh, like we have a program for you," and then we see the creation of the original like. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that works with the timeline.
Like a montage type thing?
Yeah, of him
Okay.
like extracting his DNA and them creating the first Terminator, and then
Shit.
they like screw him over somehow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think we're just gonna start with human Arnie. That's as far as I think if I get that right, I'll be happy.
Okay.
Young human Arnie is what we start with.
Mine's a little different.
Go on.
Mine's it's 2029 and John Connor is leading the fight of the Resistance.
Okay.
It's a very pivotal fight, and it looks like Skynet's about to win.
Okay.
But then they're gonna send back someone in time.
So
The same way.
how
The same way we always
How'd
do
you
it.
come up with that one?
I mean,
Good thinking, Almond. No, you could definitely. That could definitely be. I'd be pretty snooty if that started happening. You'd hear a huff out of me in the theater for sure. A little. I think there would be a few like cringe roll your eyes moments in this movie, and that's okay as long as it's not too many.
I have one written down here.
Okay.
I think we're gonna see a very meta, very fourth wall breaking convo with Arnold and Linda Hamilton, where Linda Hamilton kind of represents James Cameron. So Arnold's gonna be like, "Oh, it's been 28 years. Where have you been?"
Well, I had to get the agreement.
Yeah, welcome back.
I guess you could say I've been busy doing other things.
This little Avatar reference.
Jake Sully cameo. I got another prediction for you.
Okay.
Okay, well, I got a question for you first.
Okay.
Does Arnold Schwarzenegger die in this movie? Either the model or the human in some way?
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping his role's not honestly that big.
Mm.
I hope he just kind of comes in.
Like a 20-minute
Exactly. It helps him with an action scene and then kind of...
Or two.
Yeah. Comes in at the end, saves our lives.
So like maybe like one towards the beginning and then one right towards the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think he's going to die.
Okay.
I think Arnold is honestly their biggest draw.
Fair enough.
They're going to want him for...
I think he's just like down at the moment too. He seems to be like really into
he's really
the
into
Terminator.
it. He's been posting on Reddit a lot.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Him and Stallone are both just like social media fiends these days. It's like, fuck, what are you guys
Is
doing?
Sly in the social media game now?
Yeah, dude, did you not follow him?
I don't follow Sylvester Stallone.
He posts like 4 times a day. Okay, my other prediction here is going along with the whole human Arnold story. So I'm really like going all in on
You're
this.
going all in on this. It's going to be embarrassing when you're wrong. But
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So obviously Sarah Connor's going to be like pretty against him because like
Mhm.
just seeing his face is probably going to fill her with like fear and like anger, all the things they've been through together. And I know he redeemed she saw the good in the Terminator in the second one, but not till like the very end. And even then, I don't think she really trusted him.
Okay.
So I think we could be looking at some of romance between Arnold and Sarah Connor.
If you're right about
I could
that,
be barking
like,
so...
I hope you're not right about that.
I remember the one line in the movie, in the trailer, like one of the only things I remember is them talking at the doorstep, and she's like, "When this is done, I'm gonna kill you," and he's like, "I know," or some shit like that. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Oh, okay. So maybe he's just gonna save her life.
And then they're just gonna start making out.
If we called Robert Eggers a sexual deviant, I think it might be Anthony Packer.
Again, it could be wrong, but I think that would be kind of cool, personally, but also kind of dumb.
Okay, I got a question for you here. Are we going to see an action scene set in the future, post-Judgment Day?
Well, this is kind of like... I don't know what year this is set in, or if society's still functioning, or if it's apocalypse. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, actually, I have no idea.
So it might be after... I think that might be after Judgment Day anyway.
But do you think, like, you know how that's all desolate, machines are marching in droves?
Right, or do you think it's going to be, like, small scale? I don't know what to expect from this movie.
I kind of hope it's small scale.
Yeah. I think we'll get one big scale action scene, like, with numerous humans and numerous Terminators.
Okay.
I don't think we'll see that idealistic war that we saw in like Terminator 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So I think it's gone in a different direction now.
Okay. All right. That's what I was looking for.
And this is my last big theory, and I'm also pretty confident about this. So I believe that whatever version of John Connor we end up getting in this movie, I think, although they're saying fate is a big part, and like, well, dark, it's kind of hinted at in the title, Dark Fate.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is you can't avoid Judgment Day. You can kind of change the way you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Or John Connor, for example, you're destined to be this leader, and the way you get there might be a bit different. But I think that like the new kind of rules are some things can be changed.
Okay.
And I don't think John Connor is going to be like this leader of the future. I think he's just like a normal guy who isn't like fit. I think we're going to get like a washed up like alcoholic John Connor in this movie.
And he's not gonna turn and do a 180 and become that.
I think he like helps out, but he's like, I'm not the leader. Like this I think this new girl is.
Yeah, this new girl.
Yeah.
Is this new girl
a hybrid machine?
Is it her? Is she pregnant, or are they going that route again?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
I have a quick prediction here.
Yeah, go on.
I think we've seen that this new liquid Terminator kind of splits into two.
Oh, okay.
And I think our final action piece, we're gonna get this Terminator to split into 6 or 7.
Okay.
And
like
then,
Mr. Smith.
Exactly, and someone's like, "Oh, that's new," or something like that. You know, something cheap. Like
Oh,
that.
I see what you mean. Yeah, haven't seen that before. They'll be back.
Oh man,
that would be pretty good actually. As he's like, he gets one, like they're in the truck and he runs over one of them and they're on the open road and he looks over at Linda Hamilton and he's like, they'll be back. We all know it could happen. Little eyebrow raise.
that kind of segues nicely into my next point here. Is that are we going to see a more rigid, a more diverse Arnold instead of this corny poster boy that the 80s and 90s saw, where he just kind of says his one-liners? Do you think we're going to get some more range from him, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe. They were saying James Cameron, he was on Howard Stern like a while back, and he was saying even in Terminator 2, when they were driving in the car and stuff, Arnold was like reading his lines off like big dummy cards.
Oh God!
And he's like, it was just so perfect for that performance.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, the more robot, stilted it sounded, the better. But I think he has grown as an actor over the years. I don't think this movie's got time to like really delve into like a serious Arnie arc though.
That'd be nice, though.
It would be nice, and there'd be
get some tears out of Arnie, maybe.
Oh God, I'd love that.
I wish I could go back.
It's not the same anymore.
They took my life.
You think we get like a sup dickwad when he sees him again when he's reunited with John Connor?
Oh yes, I think so for sure.
Herds are, like that's the first time you thought of it, and all of a sudden you're so sure.
I think we're gonna get a lot of fan service.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think they are trying to like make this a new like direction as well, though. So I think it just comes down to, is the action exciting? Does it feel like there's stuff at stake, or is it just watching like video game cutscenes? I want to feel that like I want to care about the characters enough that the action has like some weight.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
And I want that as well, but I don't think we're gonna get that.
No, I don't think that's a lot to ask from this franchise.
I think we're yeah, exactly.
I think like if it's anything close to like Logan or Mad Max, I'd be a happy man.
Yeah, and they would be smart to go in that direction. Especially working
and, like,
with Tim Miller.
They've got the talent there.
Yeah.
They've got Jimmy Cameron, who's a great filmmaker in general. He's not perfect.
He's not perfect. I mean, he did write Alita Battle Angel. Yikes.
I definitely would like him as my consultant though if I was making a big movie. Like he knows his way around a fucking blockbuster.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, the man knows how to make money.
Yeah. Oh, you're just so cynical. I think Linda Hamilton's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I hope it's not like the new Halloween movie where they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. Because I don't know what it was about that movie, but I did not like it.
Oh really? I actually haven't seen it, but I heard it got amazing reviews.
No.
Quick trivia: who directed that?
Danny McBride wrote it. I think that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Don't worry.
Thanks, man. I actually do have one more quick segment here.
Yeah.
Anthony, tell me what the post-credit scene is going to be.
There's going to be no... And you see it's like a new kind of Terminator, and it's like a big actor.
Ooh.
Say like... I could see like Jason Statham.
I think the post-credit's going to be like a and then a hand's gonna shoot up, or the liquid from this
Thumbs
liquid
up.
Terminator is gonna be coming together in
Oh.
the shape of a thumb.
All right, well, I think we got tickets pretty soon to this movie. So
Yeah, what time is our showing again?
we're seeing the 7:20. So we're gonna grab some food, I think, and then get ready to go.
For sure.
All right, we'll see you very shortly.
Take it away, future Antony and Aman. And we're back.
We are indeed.
So we just got out of our 7:15 showing of
Yeah.
Terminator Dark Fate.
7:20.
7:20. Antony and I got home. Took about 5-10 minutes to digest it on our own. We haven't really discussed it much.
No.
So let's get into it. Actually, sorry, before we get into it, spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
Of course, the second half is chock full of spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Be careful.
Alert.
Spoiler alert. Okay, that's enough.
All right. Antony, initial reactions, go ahead.
Initial reactions were that I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a fun popcorn flick.
Mm-hmm.
Significant improvement over Salvation, Genesis, and Rise of the Machines, in my opinion.
Yep, okay. Yeah.
So I liked it. It had its flaws, and it was one of those movies that kind of fell into my hands, like of what like I would like and what I didn't like.
Yeah.
But there's some notable things I just want to give praise for initially. I think like any blockbuster movies coming up these days, like look at this movie and take some notes on how visceral and like entertaining and escalating the action scenes were. They felt like well planned out. The movie had a breakneck pace. It never felt boring.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that old cliche that like you can't just have a movie that's all action because like you need those moments to kind of slow things down, get to know the characters, learn about the obstacles and the arcs and stuff. And this movie did that, but like the action really felt just like it kept coming.
Yeah.
And the new Terminator was sort of this like dreading threat that you just knew was like only like 2 minutes away from catching up to them the entire movie.
Yeah, he was very daunting.
Yeah. And then the other big thing I was going to shout out was just the performances. I think Linda Hamilton, Arnold, and Mackenzie Davis all put in like good performances. Like not just spouting cheesy dialogue. Like the other girl, I'm not sure what her name is.
Yeah.
But I thought she was the weakest of the performers.
Yeah. And
what were your initial thoughts?
We'll get into that. I thought it was okay. It was a little lackluster, like I said, or like you said. Sorry, good popcorn flick. But I think nothing more than that. And we were kind of talking about, maybe we'll get a Mad Max tier action movie. Where, we talk nominations even, but definitely not getting nominated.
No.
And I think it's gonna be one of those movies that you'll see on
paper.
like
Central.
Shaw on Demand, like the free section in maybe 2 years, and it's kind of gonna go by the wayside.
But then you look at another movie like one that kind of just pops in my head. This isn't a diss to this movie because it's like not bad, but like you look at like a Atomic Blonde or just other. I think it's better than like most action movies in terms of like in terms of how slick the action was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I'd say we definitely got our ticket price worth.
Yeah. And like there were moments where I'm like, oh, like they're going for this, or like you think the action scene's kind of over, and then it changes to a whole new location, but it's still going, and the progression felt natural.
Yeah. So it was a good action film.
Yeah.
But let's dissect it a little bit. So
Okay.
you talked on acting a bit.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Mackenzie Davis was a solid newcomer.
Yeah.
Do
you know much about what she's done before? I don't think I've seen her in anything.
She was that girl in Blade Runner 2049, the prostitute.
Okay.
But I thought she was good. And you said it before, that she had a lot of lines where that could have come across as corny when she's trying to be badass. And it sounded very natural. Like she was badass. I bought into that. She
like her physique and her like she actually had that like really physical presence.
Yeah.
She's obviously in incredible shape. And it didn't feel like, sometimes you see certain like not just women, like men and women in movies, and you just don't really feel their like threateningness almost. Yeah. She actually felt like she could pack a punch.
Exactly. And speaking of packing a punch, Linda Hamilton.
Nice fucking segue.
Linda Hamilton absolutely brought it.
Yeah, she did.
She was
having a blast.
She was so badass.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times they try and force this character on us, and I think that's kind of what they did with the actress who played was it Daniela or something, Danny?
Yeah.
And they wanted you to buy that, spoiler alert, that she's like the leader of the resistance, and I'm just like, we first meet this character and she's crying and screaming, and then all of a sudden
the next same day,
yeah, she's this badass leader,
and that's what I had on my notes here. We kind of spoiled it a bit there, but I was just gonna say, like, that's one thing that the movie really didn't do for me is like, you set up these three great characters to be protecting someone who's like the most important of all of them, and she felt kind of the weakest of all the characters.
Yeah.
And I just didn't buy into this like miracle transformation in character. She got over the death of her brother and dad in like one scene.
Yeah, and then she's like, I want to fight. I'm like, oh.
And it's tough. Like, I had a note here, like, it's always going to be a big challenge of these kind of movies. I put here, protagonist adapts too fast. Because like, you always get the inciting incident when a character like can't go back to their life before. And these kind of movies just... That's a benefit some sequels have, because your characters are already like hardened, so you can do more with them quickly.
And I think that's what they kind of did with Linda Hamilton as well.
Yeah, because you buy it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, we could talk a bit about the predictions maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I was getting a little cocky after my good performance last time.
So go ahead.
So I got here, Arnie is human. I gave myself a half mark on this. Will you allow that?
I'll give you 0.25.
I'll take a 0.25 because he is a Terminator. And I thought for a sec I was right when he entered the door and she was like, "You just shoot him. We'll wait till you see what's under there." You know what I mean? And I thought they were gonna do it. But he's a Terminator that was sent back 3 years after the one that we met in T2, and he executed the mission of killing John Connor.
Yeah, despite it not even matter, like, because they had already in T2 they stopped Skynet from being made, so it was just like they had sent multiple back for different times just to kill John Connor.
Oh, okay.
So despite them stopping Skynet, this one was still coming back 2 years later to kill
Speaking
him.
on that quickly, the whole like Skynet is now Legion thing.
Oh, dude, I got some dirty notes on that.
Okay, did we need that? Like, just call it Skynet. Christian Bale cameo. No, that we can.
I wish.
Yeah. I have here the new female character is part of Sarah Connor's DNA. That proved to be false as well.
Yeah.
Begins with human Arnie being used to create a Terminator. That was also completely
I wish
wrong.
that was right.
Yeah.
Like, shit, that would have made for a better movie.
The opening was just the classic skull in the dirt.
Yeah.
It was pretty poor beginning. I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
But it did pick up after that. Arnie dies. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Got that one right.
Yeah.
And Sarah Connor and Arnold have a love story. No.
Not at all.
All right.
So let's recap our fast questions.
Fast question, please.
Fast questions. First question was reference to fractured or resetting the timeline.
Yeah, I'd say so. Because when she's like, you're Skynet, she's like, what's Skynet?
Yeah,
It's
okay.
Different timeline.
Yeah, so we're kind of erasing Salvation, Genesis, and T3 with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is definitely what they want.
Yeah.
Sarah Connor sacrifice. You said no, so that's a ding.
Yeah. I knew they wanted her back for a couple more.
Will Arnold give a thumbs up? There was a moment where it looked like he was about to.
Yeah.
But he just let go.
And Arnie's humor, we must talk about that.
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
Because I don't know how he does it, but like the deadpan thing still works like 30 years later.
Yeah. It was golden. He's talking about like drapes, and you and I were
Yeah,
dying
oh my
in the
God,
theater.
yeah.
It was great. It was great.
And just like, please sit down. Just like when he says things like that, it's just funny. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're right. It's his shtick, and it's been slaying for 30 years.
And you were saying they were gonna like update it and like make some modern like, hey Siri jokes.
Yeah. Not all technology is bad.
Wink. Would you like Uber Eats? But we didn't get any of that.
Okay, Packer. Thoughts on the villain?
Oh, I thought he was really good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's like a one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
But when he had to turn on that charisma,
Yeah.
it was great.
To infiltrate areas and all that. And
Yeah.
that felt a little bit trodden on because the T2 villain and this villain were quite similar with the liquid metal.
Yeah, exactly.
And just sort of looking like your everyday Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the scene in particular, like his kind of highlight of his character was when they were in the detention center with all the prisoners and all the guards were just jumping on him.
Yeah.
And those just spikes just started coming out. I was like,
his eyes were straight forward. And,
yeah, he really felt unstoppable. This does lead me into one thing I didn't really like at all. And this is a problem that so many movies have these days and it drives me nuts. underpowered characters inexplicably surviving.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of like someone needing to get killed who's just a normal person, and all of a sudden the main villain just throws them across the room, or like it's like just like he had so many chances to kill Danny.
Yeah.
And it just
kind of does it in slow-mo.
Yeah, or like he's just hovering over her.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
The spear comes out very slowly to the tip of her neck.
Just for enough time to Arnold to get there. It's like, stop doing that. That was frustrating, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Did not care for that.
Like, the character himself as the villain is nice, but I just didn't like...
He's nice.
Well, I thought he was good. Like,
nice.
He was very threatening, and you said the fear of him, that he was always kind of 2 minutes away, was always kind of there. But I felt it was a little hard to grasp the stakes when you, like, about who he represents, because they mention that Skynet's not a thing, it's just this Legion, but like, what is Legion? What's their origin? How are they different from Skynet? Or are we just getting the same thing?
Yeah. If you're gonna call it Legion, let's hear why it's different.
Exactly. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Did the machines have more of a motive? Have they become self-aware? Because you're giving me this whole Arnold self-aware thing.
Yeah.
So why is a way more sophisticated model?
Let's run with that a little bit, right?
Yeah. That wasn't explored too well. And I was gonna ask you, did you buy the whole Arnold humanity thing?
I was into that. I mean,
it was pretty shocking exposition. He just like
he just sat down and
let me tell you, after I did this, I had no mission anymore, so I did this, and I thought that was a little bit of a cop out.
I think cop out for sure, but because it was our first time seeing Arnold, that we were invested, and we didn't care what he said at that point.
Yeah, he's one of the few characters that can get away with that, just because you just love seeing him on screen. And I'm not just saying that. Like, it's not like when people say they just love these characters and love these movies just because it's them. I think there's a lot of characters that we are a bit like sick of that you see, and they don't have the same pull anymore. Mm-hmm. But Arnold is one of the few that's still great as a Terminator.
Yeah, I think. He pulls that off. Amazingly.
I had a little segment here. It's called. You already obviously know one because you said it, but it's called Trivia on the Spot. Trivia on the Spot.
Trivia on the Spot.
What was Mackenzie Davis' name?
Grace.
Snipe. What was the model of the new Terminator called?
It's the Rev 9.
Okay. What was the last thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger said in the movie?
Fuck. I don't know.
For John.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
That was like a little recurring theme. I thought that would be a fun segment.
I like that segment. 2 out of 3 ain't half bad.
Yeah, that was actually really. You got the hardest one, or you got the easiest one wrong. That's Grace, Rev 9. Tagline of the movie, doesn't know.
Favorite action scene?
Just that. I mean, it's hard to even say a scene because it just kept going and going.
Yeah, that final act was just.
It started in the prison. They got in the plane.
Yeah.
They went up. There was the whole plane scene.
I didn't really like the plane scene.
I liked the plane scene.
And then it transitioned to that
Then
underwater.
the dam. That was so cool.
I wasn't feeling the dam.
I loved the dam.
The plane scene, I couldn't tell what was going on. I was like, like their gravity's switching now.
I gotta disagree with you because action felt smooth, well choreographed, and intense. You didn't get taken like shaky cam though. Like the camera was smooth.
There were so many cuts. It wasn't shaky.
There's a lot
there
going
were so
on
many
of it.
cuts. I was just like. Dude, that was just the plane and the water scene. Everything else was clean.
Okay, but then also when the water was barreling down on the Jeep and they were underwater, I was getting a little bit like claustrophobic.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
They
clearly put a lot of work into it.
Like compared to the border scene, car manufacturing plant, and then the final set piece. The final set piece, you and I actually looked at each other and like, fuck, this is pretty legit.
It was very well done. Okay, fair enough. I got a few other points here.
Go ahead.
I'd just love to go over it with you. One other thing I feel like the movie suffered from was it couldn't decide on its look. So it started with like the old VHS like Paramount logo, and it was showing these like that 80s grainy look. They were really trying to recapture the look of T2.
Yep.
Especially with like the flashback with Edward Furlong. It was like there was really good at de-aging as well.
Yeah, good de-aging.
But then all of a sudden it would go to this really modern, glossy like Terminator Genesis look. Mm-hmm. Where everything looks way too polished and it looks like everything's fake.
Diego Luna's face was so smooth.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this weird 4K like frame rate? I don't know what it was, but I didn't love that. I think they should have stuck with a grittier tone throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. So that's one little flaw I had. I thought the violence was very good.
It was appropriate.
It was.
They didn't cheap out on it, which was nice.
Yeah, and Tim Miller's obviously like Deadpool's been a good experience for him, clearly.
Yeah,
he knows how to do
R. Exactly, he knows how to do R. Speaking of knowing how to do R, a lot of F-bombs in this movie.
A lot of F-bombs. Lin-Manuel Hamilton, can I get a recap?
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, fuck.
A lot of fucks in this movie, but it felt nice.
No Arnold fuck, though.
No, I don't think he would.
Yeah, fuck.
No, but a lot of fucks or a lot of swearing in this movie, but
and the violence wasn't like gross.
Yeah,
but it was like, oh, like I feel bad for that guy. So I thought that was really good, and it's nice. I don't think any of them have been R-rated since the T2. So
yeah, T3 maybe.
No, I don't think so.
I thought we saw some ass in T3.
You can get away with a bit of ass in PG-13.
A couple of cheeks, all right.
I have another question here.
Yep.
In this franchise, one issue I would love to have explained, and maybe one of the movies has touched on it. Why do they always send one? They send 2 Rev 9s.
Yeah.
They're done.
Maybe they're like, we only have enough energy to send one.
And I hated the way to kill the Terminator. She had the power, like...
Oh, she had it in her the entire time?
Yeah.
That was it the entire time?
That was
like,
really dumb.
You know what I was thinking? Like, it's... Every time they, like, killed it and it turned into liquid, like, why don't they just, like, scoop it up in a glass jar or
at
something?
least try a moment like that. Like, let's try separating it and see what happens.
Let's capture it
in
something that's not metal.
Yeah, and bring it with us or something like that. But they didn't really take advantage of that.
Yeah, it felt like...
Especially towards the end, there's a big... They kill it again, and it's really separated all the pieces. And they kind of showed the reactions of the actors, and I was like, oh, they're going to try and separate it. And it really made you feel like they were. They just came back together. I was like, I've seen this 5 times already.
Exactly.
I'm kind of over
like, everyone's getting impaled.
And he's just got the look after when he's back, and he just like looks ready to go again.
Yeah.
Like, it happened like 7 times. This is a small point, but I thought it was kind of cool how we had, like, especially for the first part of the movie, we had 3 female characters, and didn't feel like they were forcing that and trying to
for sure
make it, you know, there's obviously a huge movement in film of inclusion and equality, and that's great, but it can be bad when it's like on the head,
like Ghostbusters.
Yeah. But I thought it was cool, like the story made sense. They didn't have any lines about it. They
didn't need to.
It felt organic
because and that's because what we talked about earlier was that the 2, Linda Hamilton and Mackenzie Davis, they were just naturally badass.
Yeah. I got like a sort of another question for you, but do you have anything else? Because this is kind of towards the end.
Yeah, I have a question that's kind of directed towards the end as well. Antony, do you think we'll be getting a sequel?
That's my last question. As well.
All right.
Well, I said, do you want to see more of this, or would you be happy to never see another Terminator movie again?
I think they should end the franchise here. I think, from what we've seen, they've done the same thing like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, now that they've sort of regained a little bit of cred, I don't want to go and ruin it immediately with a terrible sequel.
What are they gonna do with a sequel? Like, oh, we're sending another one back.
Yeah, like Pitch Black Fate. Like, I don't know.
Pitch Black Fate. Oh my god.
And I feel like they are gonna try it. I was looking. The budget is apparently $185 million.
See, I thought it was gonna be maybe 90 to 100.
No, it's a big budget movie, so I worry about movies like this because they're not perfect, but I don't want to see these movies die out. More of an old-fashioned action movie vibe. It wasn't a superhero movie.
Yeah.
So I hope it does well. I don't want to see it bomb.
Box office predictions?
Our theater was like half full.
Yeah, opening night.
On Friday night.
We got last-minute tickets.
Like 720, like the prime spot.
Yeah.
So I think it'll do like 375.
I was about to say 350.
Yeah, maybe 4. And I think they'd probably take that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this movie actually got made after like the critical.
Well, there was so much hype about James Cameron returning.
Was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was. There was this whole thing about how he's getting his rights back. Like, the man wrote T1 in the back of his car, right?
Right. Okay.
Or while he was living in his car.
So that kind of went under my radar, like the hype for this movie. I saw the trailer and.
Because I remember after Genesis, everyone was like, "This is shit."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, it's okay. James Cameron's coming back in 2019. We're getting Jimmy back," and I want to know how much he actually had his input on this, right?
I did. I read an article the other day saying like he was very involved in the editing. That was like where he really came in.
Okay.
And he was saying I spent months going back and forth with them, being like, you know, this isn't Terminator. With this story thing doesn't work. So he was very involved. And like they say, you really make the movie in the edit. Like you shoot. Not as much with these huge big budget movies where everything has to be planned out.
Yeah.
But he definitely had a big hand in putting the movie together. And it showed. I felt some James Cameron influence in this.
Okay, fair enough. All right, final thoughts?
So I thought this was a good improvement for the Terminator franchise. I don't think they should end it. I think I could do with one more.
Okay.
Sort of a culmination of everything and really have some finality to it. Be like, we are ending the franchise here while we've got a little bit of a good thing going.
Okay.
Arnold's getting on a bit. And he filled out in this movie, and whatever they did with the stunts and the CGI, it didn't feel tacky.
Yeah, he
felt like he was there and involved.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Do it like in a sort of hybrid of the modern world and this like apocalyptic thing coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of do the war, see the war out, do that big movie that we've been like waiting for.
Okay. Yeah, see the war out. I like that. And
Yeah.
Who you bringing in as your big name?
Ooh, I'll keep Mackenzie for sure. And what's the name of Danny's the actress name? You know?
The character's name.
We'll minimize her role a little bit. We'll have her like die in the first scene. You know who I'm gonna bring in? I'm gonna bring in Cillian Murphy.
Okay, I don't think he'll ever take it, but
No, when he sees the character I got in store for him.
okay. So my final thoughts are: I think this movie's gonna get a lot of flack for its being unoriginal.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how many movies are we going to get with the Terminator pursuing a savior and they're sent back, right? It's the same exact movie, but what they've done is they've added these new characters, but the movie's still propped up on the past of Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, yeah, I mean, wasn't too impressed, but like we said, good popcorn flick.
Yeah.
Does have some redeeming qualities. Out of 10, let's go.
I'm gonna go with a 7.
Yeah, I'll go with a 7 as well.
Yeah. So you liked Terminator Dark Fate more than The Lighthouse.
I knew.
I've been waiting for you because I wanted to
knew that
catch
was
you
gonna
out.
come up. I was like, oh, maybe I should write 6 because the viewers are gonna be the
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different movie, man. We're comparing
I
apples and
know.
oranges here.
So your 10 isn't a unified 10.
Is your 10 a unified 10?
I try to, but I do know what you mean. There are some that don't quite match
like
up.
certain movies, every movie's on a kind of different.
Well, like you're
scale.
grading this on the action movie scale, whereas The Lighthouse you were grading on the art house film scale.
Oh, exactly. You're in my head right now, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that sums it up. I'm glad we saw it. It wasn't
Yeah.
terrible by any means.
No, yeah, I'm not walking out of the theater frustrated. I'm not angry that
No.
I wasted 2 hours and 4 minutes watching.
Is that what it was?
It was.
It felt a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's wrap it up. Speaking of wrapping it up, I think that's probably it from us for today.
All right.
So please subscribe, whatever platform you're listening to, Spotify, iTunes,
Google Play.
Google Play. We're going to be back doing more episodes, and I think we may even have the video format coming in at some point.
Yeah. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening.
See you soon. Bye-bye.